But I'll tell you something right now. I'm a diehard Jet fan. Evan's a diehard Jet fan. You are living in a Jets world, people. We get two guys into the Hall of Fame. We win the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. We win the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. We win the Executive of the Year award. We win the Mascot of the Year award. We won the Hottest Cheerleaders of the Year award. And now the question is, can we continue on our path towards next year's championship? Good afternoon, Evan. How are you today, kid?
And still finished under 500 and missed the playoffs.
This is what we do.
Yes. I was most proud of Joe Klecko is before my time, but I know the fight that Jet fans had for many, many years for him to be in the Hall of Fame. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the older Jet fan. But Darrelle Revis, that's satisfying because before I was pissed about DeGrom leaving, I was pissed about moving on from Revis. And that killed me. And what killed me even more is, okay, wise trade coming off the major injury to Tampa. But then a year after that, he's in New England and he's winning a Super Bowl. A Super Bowl that's only won because Russell Wilson throws an interception. Right? And then Darrelle comes back and didn't really have the greatest time here, especially Week 17 against the Bills in 2015. But here's what's beautiful about Darrelle Revis. Jet fans adore him. Jet fans love him. Jet fans are proud that he's a first-ballot Hall of Famer. Yet, while I was here at this radio station, while you were here at this radio station, Darrelle Revis was disliked by a lot of Jet fans.
Well, for a couple reasons.
I know.
The first of which is Darrelle Revis essentially held out and renegotiated his contract every year he was a Jet.
Yeah.
Now, he also was one of the smartest businessmen that's ever had a helmet and shoulder pads on because he always won. But it turned people off. It's funny that you bring it up because you're right. Of course, winning a Super Bowl with the Patriots doesn't help matters either. And then coming back, but he was the best player we've had on this franchise, with all due respect to other good players, in a very, very long time. That being said,
I would say, by the way, just real quick, I would say pound for pound, he was the best player who ever played for the New York Jets.
But I wouldn't argue it.
At what he did, he was the best.
Yeah, and it's great to have a guy that we got to see at an age where we can appreciate it and enjoy it and look back and go, I saw every game that guy played. Yeah, we don't have a lot of those guys
but you're partially wrong, and I think that's the thing that still bothers me.
Who did we get to see like that?
No. That's not what I'm disagreeing with.
Good.
We didn't see every game he played because he played about 35 of them with Tampa Bay, New England, and then I don't even count the Chiefs.
Every game is a Jet. We saw his whole Jet career.
But it annoyed me because there are certain guys who need to be on your team for their entire career.
Okay. Well, that's a different way to look at it. Okay.
And that's the way I do look at it, and it's bittersweet. It really is what it comes down to, because I love Darrelle Revis.
You didn't get Darrelle for every single game he played in football.
It pained me.
Right.
I argued with the audience, and I'm not sure what side you were on, so I'm not accusing you of anything.
Yeah.
But I argued with Jet fans in 2013. We can't trade him. He needs to be a Jet for life. And it bothers me that he did. And it bothers me that he went to New England, won a Super Bowl. Now, I still love him, and I think the Jet fans have shown you in the last 12 hours, they still love him. Despite all the misgivings they had, and you laid it out, the holdouts numerous times, the contracts, he's still a great player who we adore, despite, A, not playing his whole career with the team, which should have happened, and then the other things that you mentioned. And it's a reminder that a decade from now, that's the way DeGrom will be viewed.
You have to remember, I say this all the time, time heals a lot of things. You look at guys differently the farther away you get from their career. So there are moments and there are people they're just as big a Jet fan as you are and I am, who really had a problem with Darrelle Revis.
I get that.
For contract holdouts, for all the stuff that took place. Obviously, we didn't win as much as we wanted, all that kind of jazz. But the reality is this. The further you get away from the guy's career, the more you can appreciate the career. And Darrelle Revis, whether Evan's exactly right or not, it's not even the point, is one of the great players to ever wear our jersey. And the fact that he gets in on the first ballot, and the fact that we got to enjoy seeing him here, and he seems to be proud to be a Jet and said all the right things about his Jet career as opposed to his NFL career is great, man. It's awesome. And listen, I saw Joe Klecko play. I remember sitting next to Boomer all those years, and as much as Boomer and I bust each other's balls, Boomer's opinion on what makes a great football player should be respected. He played the sport and is an NFL MVP. And he used to tell me something that I could never appreciate. You could never appreciate it from the standpoint of being on the field with those guys, is that Joe Klecko was unguardable. Joe Klecko played multiple positions, and nobody wanted that matchup. Anthony Munoz, who we by default had to have on every show we ever did from a Super Bowl, despite the fact he had nothing new to say after year 4, and yet we did it 10 consecutive years anyway, and I love Anthony, but that's a reality, that's a fact. And oh, by the way, they did it again this year.
Did they?
Yes, they did. It was the only guest they had all week. And it was Anthony Munoz, right?
Right.
And he would tell you, as the greatest left tackle to ever play football, the one guy, not that he feared him, because he obviously don't fear anyone when you're Anthony Munoz, but the one guy that gave him fits was Joe Klecko.
Look, I think just knowing Pro Bowl at 3 different positions, and also a guy who was a career Jet till the bitter end and then spent 1 year in Indianapolis, and you try to delete it from your memory.
And the beauty of Klecko, unlike certain other guys in this town, well, yes, if you asked the question, he would always tell you, of course, it'd be a great honor. Joe Klecko did not spend his entire retired life actively pursuing and pitching and marketing himself to be a Hall of Famer. He'd answer the question if you asked it, because I'm sure you guys have had him on. We had him on, obviously. But he wasn't a self-promoter. And I'm just really happy for Joe Klecko that he's in.
The promoting of Joe Klecko came from the Jet fan of the mid-'80s and early '80s, the Jet fan who watched him, the Jet fan who knows that's a guy who deserves to be in Canton, and I'm thrilled for him. And so you're right. The awards for Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, you know what? I'll tell you why it doesn't matter at all to me. I watch them play. I know how good they are.
Yeah.
I don't need, or maybe they do, and that's fine. I don't need as a fan them to win an award to tell me what I just witnessed.
Well, listen,
they're brilliant young players.
Winning the award didn't get them into the playoffs. Is the ultimate thing here is that we're getting at?
Right.
Yeah, we have 2 great young players. It tells you that Joe Douglas did do a really good job in last year's draft to have 2 guys, obviously being rookies of the year, offensive and defensive, but he's got to do a lot more work.
Of course.
Like that accolade doesn't win games. Let's go win some games.
Like the Giants had a big award last night. Brian Daboll was the coach of the year, and I think you'd agree with me. Well deserved. Should have been the guy. You agree? They got it right? Coach of the year?
Yes, I think Brian Daboll was the coach of the year.
I spoke for 5 seconds. Was it that boring?
No. I thought I saw breaking news, and I apologize.
Yeah, the Nets traded Kevin Durant. I know, Craig.
No. I thought it was announced that Tiger Woods was playing the Masters, but I read it wrong. He's playing the Genesis, which is his sponsor. Isn't that the Hyundai or the truck or whatever it is that he was driving when he had the accident?
That's what I was going to say. Isn't that the same tournament he got hurt?
Yeah, I think that's the tournament. What's it? Is it 3 years now or 2?
I think it was 2 years.
So he's going back, and he's playing in that tournament. I apologize. I saw a blurb on TV. I thought it was something else.
All I was saying is Brian Daboll deserves Coach of the Year.
Brian Daboll,
damn right he does.
Listen, I know the argument against it, but it's a silly argument. Well, he was 9-7-1. Yeah, Brian Daboll turned the franchise around that had no expectation this year with a quarterback that was most likely on his way out of town, with a running back that had never lived up to expectations. And he got them into the playoffs and won a playoff game. Everyone else can shut up. Brian Daboll's the coach of the year.
It's a great, deserving award, just like Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner deserve theirs. But I've already gotten to the part of the football season where it's on to the next, where it's on to, okay, now how are you going to get better? In the Jets' case, finding a quarterback, and in the Giants' case, trying to get back to the playoffs again.
Did you see what Brian Daboll said he's doing?
Yeah.
Speaking about getting ready for the next season?
It's called pulling a carton.
He's having a case of beer,
Yep.
a plate of nachos, and tomorrow he will start looking forward to next year. Excuse me, Monday. You know what I mean.
Yes.
That's my guy.
That's called a carton.
Yeah, we call that a carton. That's right.
That's what I thought.
That's exactly right.
When
That's
I saw
right.
that, I thought that. I didn't see the NFL award show because I was watching the new-look Brooklyn Nets begin the post-Durant era with a victory.
Do we call
How
that?
great was that?
Is the post-Durant era also known as the homophobic era?
Oh, don't do
Is
this.
that the era where we, as an organization, denounce the gay lifestyle?
First of all, okay.
Or is there something else we're doing?
I thought,
just so I know, because I don't know. They have weird promotions there. I don't know.
I thought that with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant gone, it would just be basketball. Nobody would care.
I think so.
And there'd be no controversies.
Yeah, oops.
And my man Cam Thomas, who had a rough night last night in the first half, and then bounced back, got to the line a bunch of times, made some plays.
Yeah.
I liked what I saw despite 3 for 16 from the field. If you missed it, he made a comment in a post-game interview with Spencer Dinwiddie that
Well, it was on the heels, the way I can set up for you, it was on the heels of when Spencer Dinwiddie spoke with the press once they found that he was being traded for Kyrie Irving. Spencer Dinwiddie said, "We may not be the best package of guys in return, to be honest, but we're the best looking."
Right.
And there's a funny little line. He acknowledged that he's not as good as Kyrie, but that he's a good-looking guy. So last night after the game, Cam didn't have 40 for the fourth night in a row. The Nets win a game. They're very happy about it. Young and exuberant guys.
Yeah.
Totally respect that. And they had a really good second half. And I forget who was doing the interview. I apologize for that.
Jared Greenberg.
All right. So Jared Greenberg is talking to Dinwiddie and Cam Thomas. And they're just two young guys who are excited. And the comment comes up about them being good-looking guys. And really, like, almost under his breath, to be fair about it, Cam Thomas very quickly utters a phrase. It's a two-word phrase that I'm not going to repeat here, but the first word is no, and the second word rhymes with no.
Right.
I'll leave it at that.
That's fair.
You can see Dinwiddie immediately goes, oh, no. It was like, he's like, come
Spencer
on,
knew
man.
immediately.
Didn't you feel that way?
Yes.
Yeah. He's like, no, come on, man. And listen, it's offensive. I will say this. He apologized immediately.
And not only did he apologize, I want to defend him because he's 22 years old. He made a mistake. He shouldn't have said it. We all know that. Not only did he apologize on Twitter immediately, it came across like genuine. Like it didn't go through a PR department. It was, oh, crap. I messed up. Let me fix it. And what was so funny is, so I went to the game last night. I'm leaving the game. And what I was doing while I was leaving the game, and you call this geeky, whatever, I went into Nets Spaces to hear fans talk about this team.
Which is like on Twitter, you could have open group conversations, and there's a moderator, and you talk about the game.
So one of the guys said, you know what I really loved is it feels like the guys all like each other. Watch the Dinwiddie interview. It was just so much fun.
Oh, boy.
So I said, let me listen to that. I'm going to the car. I want to hear it. So I go on my phone. I rewind my DVR on my phone from the DirecTV Now, and I get to the interview. And I'm listening, and I'm happy, and I'm like, God, I feel good.
Did you have to play it back a couple times to hear it?
I heard something. I was like, excuse me, what was that?
Oh, Jesus.
I pressed the rewind button. I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah, not good. And the NBA has already fined him $40,000. So they do have a no tolerance policy. Listen, there are different levels of verbal crimes. He shouldn't have said it. It is offensive, of course. No one's going to deny that, but I'm with you on this. It was an immediate apology. I happen to think he was sincere, and we're not going to now castigate this guy as the worst human being on earth. You're allowed to be 22 and make a mistake with your words and get past it, and hopefully he'll be allowed to do that.
One weird thing about Cam Thomas has been known as never smiling. Like, that's his thing. He's a very serious look, and he was asked a couple weeks ago, why don't you ever smile?
Yeah.
And he made a line that became a meme, and he says, because bleep ain't funny. Like, it's just not funny.
Yeah.
And so here he is actually being non-serious for the first time.
He's being glib.
And he got himself in a little bit of trouble.
Listen, I think we can all move on from it. I hope, I am not a member of that community, so I respect the extra sensitivity if you're not going to move on from it, but he is a kid. He made a mistake. He apologized for it, and hopefully we can move on from it. 877-337-6666. We got this great offseason for the Jets. Not sure what that means for next football season, but we got a lot of work to do now, namely getting a quarterback. And here's what we know for sure right now in the moment. The New York Jets apparently have no interest at all in Derek Carr. And I'm not suggesting Derek Carr is the answer or should be the answer as long as Aaron Rodgers is still undecided or unsigned, or who knows what the hell that guy's doing. But I am very surprised that the New York Jets have not at least called called Las Vegas, found out what the asking price is, and agreed to it for the simple token that it allows them to then talk to Derek Carr.
I think the problem is...
I'm very bothered by that.
So here's why I'm not, and I'm surmising here. I think it's all a timing issue. The Derek Carr situation is likely to be sorted out soon after the Super Bowl. The Aaron Rodgers situation isn't, because he hasn't made a decision on what he wants to do. The Packers haven't made a decision on what they want to do. And I think it's obvious if you read the tea leaves on the things Woody Johnson has said. They want Aaron Rodgers. Price is no cost.
Nor should it be, right?
They're not afraid of that. So I think their number one option, their number two option, the number three option is Aaron Rodgers. Now, it's fair to bring up, but what if they don't get him?
Because Aaron Rodgers could simply come out of that cave that he's going into, whatever the house, the thing, whatever it is, and simply say, I want to end my career as a Packer. That's not taking a shot at the Jets.
No, I get that.
You know what? I don't want to move. I don't want to learn a new system. I happen to be really happy in Green Bay. I love the fans. LaFleur's pretty good to me, blah, blah, blah. I ain't going nowhere. Now what do? Now you don't have Rodgers,
we
not your fault,
acknowledge-
and now you don't have Derek Carr
Right.
either.
I acknowledge, and I think we all do, there is a huge, huge drop-off. But
Right.
they're going for the jugular, which I appreciate.
I agree with you, but having a conversation doesn't require you to sign a guy or make a deal.
Well, it requires you to agree on a compensation deal.
But you don't have to sign him.
I get it, but for what? If this
Because I want to know.
Well, know what? This is going to be sorted out in days after the Super Bowl. Rodgers won't be.
Well, I mean, listen, when does Rodgers go into this stupid black cave?
I bet you after the Super Bowl. I bet you he wants to watch the game.
He said weeks away. It's on his calendar.
So it's weeks away.
Well, that's what he said on Tuesday.
So there you go. So, again, it just proves my point timeline-wise. It's not going to work with Derek Carr. And I get that the drop-off after Rodgers and Carr is huge. We've gone through that.
Yep.
I understand that.
So
but
you're willing to throw it all in one basket.
I think it's. I wouldn't phrase it that way.
Well,
See, you phrase things a certain way.
That's what you're doing, though.
I'm throwing the deep bomb. That's what I'm doing.
But
I'm not checking
6.
I'm not checking down.
Pardon me. It's 4th and 6.
Okay.
It's 4th and 6. It's 4th and 6.
Yeah, and I'm trying to throw a touchdown.
Are you throwing a 10-yard crossing pattern to keep the ball going, or are you going for the end zone?
See, I wouldn't look at it that way.
That's
Do you
exactly
remember the
what you're
last play
doing.
of the Giant-Viking game when Kirk Cousins threw it like a few yards short of the first down marker on 4th down?
Yes.
That's trading for Derek Carr, right? Throwing it up to Justin Jefferson in double coverage is going after Aaron Rodgers. I think that is a perfect analogy.
All right. Well,
Speaking
listen,
of Kirk Cousins, did you see him singing last night?
I did not. What was he singing last night?
He took a song of Kelly Clarkson's, Since You've Been Gone, and turned it into a celebration that Tom Brady's gone and that maybe he has a chance to win.
Is that right?
Yes, and Kelly Clarkson.
So we might actually, do we respect the song? Did he do a good job?
I thought
Did Kelly Clarkson like it?
Kelly loved it. Kelly was like, boy, I didn't know you had such a good voice.
Really?
That was really good. And then Kelly, who I think has
Kelly's the cat's meow.
top 15 voice of all time.
No, don't get crazy.
Where was she on that list?
I don't know. I don't think she's on the list.
Excuse me?
I don't think she made the
She wasn't on the
Rolling Stone
list. Then the list should be
But
burned.
I'll do you a solid, and I did this morning. I went through and I listened, because as you know, my favorite song of all time is the national anthem, right?
Yes.
I went back early this morning, and I listened to every Super Bowl national anthem that has ever been performed.
You sound like me now.
Right? Yeah, like you do it with weird sports stuff. I'm a weirdo. I went back at like 3 o'clock this morning, and do you know the very first national anthem of the Super Bowl?
No.
It was not Super Bowl I. It was not Super Bowl II.
But what does that mean? They weren't doing the national anthem?
They did not sing the national anthem before those Super Bowls.
Really?
Yep. The very first Super Bowl that had a national anthem sung was 1974. A guy named Chuck something or other. All right, and he was a country music star of the era. He
Okay.
was the first one, 1974. Google me, and I'm going to beat your ass if you fact
I'm not
check
Googling
me.
that. I'm
You're
Googling
fact-checking
something
me.
else.
I see what you're doing. You're fact-checking me.
You know what I'm fact-checking?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're fact-checking.
Super Bowl I, because there had to have been an anthem
They
before
did not
Super Bowl
sing the
I.
national anthem as a part of the Super Bowl the way they do today.
See, they did. The Pride of Arizona, Michigan
No.
marching band, and the UCLA
That's a marching
choir.
band. It was not sung by like a person,
They
a
did the
celebrity.
national anthem.
No, they did not. 1974 was the first time they brought a recording star in to sing the national
And in
anthem.
Super Bowl II is the GSU Tiger marching
Yes,
band.
again, marching bands don't count. I'm talking about a rock star comes in and sings the national
I
anthem.
was just making sure there was a national anthem.
1974, sir.
Okay.
All right, look it up. I forget the guy's name, Chuck something or other.
Charlie Pride.
Charlie Pride, there you go, country music star. All right? Now, I ranked my 5 greatest Super Bowl national anthems of all time.
Okay.
Your girl's right there.
Kelly?
Kelly Clarkson
She's
is
great.
right there.
She's fantastic.
And if we accept the fact that you can't take Whitney Houston out of the number 1 spot for a myriad of reasons, we're really debating who's second.
Beyonce.
Beyonce was on my list.
Look at that. See, you're showing some respect. Christina Aguilera.
Not on my list. And I love Christina Aguilera.
Gladys Knight.
Gladys Knight, not on my list. And I love Gladys Knight and the Pips. I think the Pips got screwed, but that's another story for another day.
Luke Bryan.
No. Nope.
The Dixie Chicks.
By the way, they're now known as the Chicks because people thought the term Dixie was offensive because it related to the Confederate flag.
Okay, my apologies.
They did a great version. They were in the next 5. They were not in the top 5.
Tim McGraw's wife.
No. Sorry.
Faith Hill.
Jennifer Hudson made the top 5.
Jennifer Hudson. What Super Bowl did she do?
Top 5.
Was that recent?
Maybe 07, 09,
Oh,
12, something like that.
I believe
And
you.
I'll give you more throughout the day, okay?
Wow.
All right, there are 2 people in the history of the Super Bowl that have been asked to perform the national anthem twice.
Can I guess?
I'll give you a hint if you want a hint. They're both men.
Bruce Springsteen.
Negative, sir.
Billy
He's
Joel.
never done it. Yes.
Really?
Yes. Billy Joel has done the national anthem twice.
Who else would it be then?
One other guy that you'll never guess.
Have I heard of him?
You've heard of him, but you don't know him.
Oh, I don't know then who.
He had a big mole on his face.
A big mole on his face.
Yeah, he's from Louisiana, I believe.
I have no idea.
You want to jump in on that, Big Mac?
Aaron Neville?
Aaron Neville.
Oh, Aaron
Really?
Neville.
Aaron Neville and Billy Joel, the only 2 people on the planet who've ever been asked to sing the national anthem at multiple Super Bowls. How about that?
How about that?
You have a question about the Super Bowl national anthem? I'm your guy.
You really are all over it.
You want to talk stats? Evan's your guy.
By the way,
we got you covered both
What's
ways.
the longest anthem?
Well, I don't want to give it all out right in the first segment. I've got the longest. I've got the shortest.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
The shortest anthem,
Yeah.
country music star.
Okay.
The longest anthem, R&B star. Okay?
do you want to hear Kirk Cousins sing? We found the audio.
Yeah. Here's Kirk Cousins singing a Kelly Clarkson. Imagine this word. No one ever thought this sentence would ever be said. A Kelly Clarkson classic.
It's true.
You got it there, guys, or no?
Okay. Tom's won 7 times, went to 10. He's on some beach, so maybe Kirk could win.
Wait, you can really sing?
Yeah. Since he's been gone.
Wait, hold on. First of all, you can really sing.
Not bad, right?
What?
I didn't like that she cut him off. I wanted to hear more.
Okay, Kirk Cousins.
By the way, if you want to see some really good singing, she just did a song and story broadcast with Pink, who's got a new tour coming out, an album. If you like Pink, it's ridiculously amazing. All right, anyway, we got lots to do. 877-337-6666. I'll get all your calls coming right up as well. Before you accuse me of giving you bad info, when I say an R&B star has the longest one, to be more accurate, it was a duet, but she sang more of the song than he did. That's the only hint I can give you.
As the
okay?
longest national anthem.
The longest national anthem ever was 2 minutes. And no, I apologize. I did have it right. Okay, I got it right. R&B star. I'm totally right. I apologize. R&B star, female R&B star.
How long was it? 2 minutes and
2
what?
minutes and 35 seconds.
And what's the shortest?
The shortest one is 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Wow.
Or no, 1 minute 27.
Over a minute difference?
1 minute 27 seconds is the shortest. 2 minutes 35 seconds is the longest.
Same exact song, and you could milk it for an extra minute plus.
Well, some people don't like that. They don't like the milking. Some people say just go ahead and sing it and get off the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a that's a generational thing.
Who
Older
are-
folks are like, sing the song straight, get off the stage. Younger folks like me, we like the pizzazz.
Well, it depends on what the
We
pizzazz.
like the runs.
My answer to this is it's a little nuanced. It depends what the pizzazz is. If you're changing the song completely, I don't love it. But if you've got like a beautiful voice and you're showing that you could hit every note, that's great. Let's go. Like if Kelly Clarkson did that, fine. Because again, top 15 voice of all time, easy.
Well,
And if Rolling Stone didn't include her in the top 100, it should be burnt.
guys, we checked in the break. I don't think they did.